Welcome to the Direct Line, the official podcast for OADSP. We're excited to have you here with us today, and if you have comments, suggestions, or if you want to join us in studio as a guest, reach out to me at podcast@oadsp.org. I'm your host, David Rustio, and today I'll be talking with Michelle Madden. Now, in full disclosure, Michelle and I have known each other for many years, and we've worked together on many projects. She considers me a friend, but the jury's still out on how I feel about her. I'm just kidding. She is my dearest friend, and I lean on her often. So first things first, Michelle, I know you well, but many listeners don't. So tell us a little about yourself and what you do.
Thank you, David, for having me on. And as always, I do consider you a friend. But my name is Michelle Madden. I work for Independence of Portage County. I've been in the field since 2005. I started out as an HR director. I'm a 20-year HR professional before taking over as the CEO in 2020.
Okay. So you mentioned your organization. Tell us more about the organization.
Okay. So we are a non-for-profit. We've been around for nearly 50 years, and we have 6 integrated care facilities. We have several waiver sites. We do day services and employment services. We have the pleasure and honor of serving nearly 75 individuals and have 150 employees that work for us.
Okay. So talk to us about integrated care facilities. Okay. Not everybody may understand what that says.
Sure. So integrated care facilities are more skilled environments. All of our integrated care facilities are in our communities. They're 8 beds or less. We do have a youth facility for children under 18. We are hoping to expand that part of it, but it's just a different funding source than a waiver site. Waiver sites are usually smaller. Those are usually paid through county board dollars, through the waiver that's with the individual.
Okay. So you've got this organization, you've been successful there. Mm-hmm. So, but
maybe.
You're also...
I'm just kidding.
I think. What you've told me is. Yeah,
I lie. Well, no, actually, I'm very blessed to do what I do. So.
Yes, you are. So you're also very involved outside of the organization that you run. Mm-hmm. And so talk to us about some of the other things that you do.
Sure. So I my whole career, I've built it on making relationships and partnerships. And I think that that's even more beneficial in this field. So I do a lot of advocacy work. I do a lot of mentoring. I'm blessed to have a board of directors that knows that I need to be where decisions are made, so that it can better serve the people that we get to support every day and the people who support them. So I do serve on the Ohio Provider Resource Association's board of directors. I've had the honor of chairing the HR committee for the last 2 years. I also do a lot of advocacy work. I've been meeting with legislators, been a part of Workforce Task Force. I get to do work with OSDSB Ohio and several of their work groups. I like to be anywhere where people are making decisions because I'm a little opinionated. Shh, don't tell anybody.
I have never mentioned that.
And I might have a little bit of FOMO too. I mean, I might have a little bit of that too. I like to be in the know. It helps me. And quite frankly, being involved in the bigger picture really does help my organization because then I'm able to bring those things back to Portage County. I'm able to incorporate them in our business, and it makes us a better, stronger organization.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned opera. You mm-hmm. said that you talked out the whole name, but opera is the short name for it.
Yes.
So tell us about opera, what they do, and how you're impacted.
So like OSDSB Ohio, they are the trade organization for DSPs. They are the trade organization for providers. Mm-hmm. They also have associate members like county board associations, vendors, things of that nature. But they really are kind of the tool for providers as far as advocacy, regulation changes. They're there to, as a collective group of providers, get out there and, work for us in that manner.
Okay. And you said you're on the board.
I am on the board. I was honored to be elected, I think, 2 years ago as a board member, and then was just elected as the secretary.
Okay. Now, I've been to one of those board meetings, and the one I was at, a little bit feisty.
I like that word. That's my word today. Yes, I like feisty. They can get feisty. And I think, here's what I want to say. The nice thing is a group of professionals that it is a safe place to have open dialogue about things. And you really then, because I think people are afraid to have real and raw and honest conversations. And you have to have that if we are going to be a conduit to change. And look, if we do things the same way we've always done them, isn't that the definition of insanity? So I think those are really, so that's what I love about the Opera Board is that we are able to be with professionals across all service delivery models, all different walks of life, all different leadership styles, and we are able to have those conversations that are very, very, very raw, honest, and open in a safe environment.
Great. Now, I attend the opera conferences. Those are always fun. Years ago, I worked with, having a little house that we built with all of the techie stuff, but, technology has really grown since then. But I love to go to the opera conferences for the same reason. I get to meet people. I get to hang out socially with folks, and it's just different to be away from the office and to be in a place where we're all in this together. But this isn't the competition place. Right. This is just a place where we learn and grow and connect. So the opera conferences are wonderful. And you and I have hung out at many an opera conference.
Yes. And I'm a firm believer, like Simon Sinek, like the magic happens between the meetings. And so by being at those conferences, by, having a cup of coffee together, you get to have those, it's a more, it's a real conversation. You're getting to know that person, how you can work. And that's what I love about the conferences. That's what I love about having, that camaraderie.
Sure. It is different from the Friday meeting where we're all just on a Zoom and kind of listening to presenters. You do get to make some real friendships and we get to steal from each other.
Yeah. I prefer share.
Ideas. Okay.
I prefer share. I mean, we don't want to steal. Okay, I steal. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, we all borrow.
We borrow. We help each other enhance. That's it.
We do.
And that's one thing I do love about this field from when I started in 2005. I never felt when I joined the HR committee, and I know you're going to find this hard to believe, for 3 years I didn't say a word.
I don't believe you.
It's true. It's true. I just sat there and listened going, I don't know all this stuff. These people are smarter than me. Anyhow, but I didn't say anything. But I loved the fact that coming from the environment I came from before, people were sharing ideas on how they recruit staff, how they were sharing policies and procedures. And it was not this, us versus them kind of mentality competition. It was, we all are serving persons with disabilities.
Right.
And, if it can help your organization serve the most amount of people. And I loved that feeling. And so I've always gone into every relationship I have that way in the field. Oh yeah, you need a policy, here you go. Oh, you want to talk through your strategic plan? Sure, let's do that. And in doing those things, they've actually made me a stronger, better leader, in my opinion, which is really the only one that matters, right?
Today.
Good answer, David. People are going to think I'm so good. I'm really not.
No. You're as down to earth as it comes. So I know you're traveling tomorrow with some industry leaders. Where are you going and what's the occasion?
Well, we were going to go for a conference. However, that changed because we thought, we deserve a little break. So we are taking a little 4-day vacation. So originally we were looking at going down for a conference, and we all quickly came to know we're not going to go to the conference. So why don't we just go and enjoy ourselves? And we work hard, we play hard, and I'm excited to spend some time with some really great people. So,
and one of those people is my boss.
I'm sorry.
And he hasn't mentioned that they're not going to the conference. So,
Don't tell him that.
you know, my boss works hard, you work hard.
Yes.
And sometimes, I mean, you're going to get a different experience just by hanging out with each other and doing things. You're going to get closer, and that also helps the organizations.
I have to say, the relationships that I have made in this field are some of my most cherished.
Okay.
Going to try not to cry. I have made amazing friendships that will last forever. And I think it's because our field is unique.
It is.
And when it really is a lifestyle. And I know people hate that I say that, but it is, because we are taking care of human lives.
Right.
And in a very different way than in a hospital way or anything like that. It is, you know, from cradle to grave that these folks in our field get services for. And a lot of times when you come into this field, it's like the DD vortex. It takes you in and won't let you out. Because when I came here, you know, nearly 19 years ago, I took the job to break the ceiling in the HR field and to get that director levelship position and then go back to the hospitals where all the money is, because
Sure.
you know, we're not making no money here. And so, but anyhow, I came in and I, like, within 6 months, I loved what I saw, and the impact, and every day is different and challenging. And I grew to love it. And I think that's very common. I think you could probably argue the same thing, right? You came here and you're like, oh, I love this. And, you know, our field offers a career path for people in a unique way that I think is underrated. I think I think we can do a better job of that. The bad thing is the funding that goes along with it, which is one of the things I advocate heavily for. Is, you know, you expect a filet mignon service, but you want to pay for a Denny's steak. And I say that all the time. So if you want this, you know, you need to invest in it, invest in that workforce. And if you invest in that frontline workforce, we then can develop those professionals that I think could just, I mean, I get all hopeful and excited when I think about what they could do if we could just invest in that front line and keep them in this field, like you and I have stayed.
Yeah. DSPs are amazing.
They're amazing.
They do impossible work with very limited resources and support. Well, and it's a tough job.
It is an amazing, when you peel back and really look what a DSP does and what they are responsible for, and the resiliency, the ethical compass they have to have, the creativity, the empathy. I mean, it is amazing to me. And I've had the pleasure, you know, to learn how to be a DSP through my DSPs, and I am in awe every day of what they do and why they do it.
Right.
You know, and I say all the time, you know, without a DSP, I have no work. I have no job. I work for them. That's my job. I work for that DSP.
That's right.
And I'm very blessed to say that IOPCI has some of the best, as well as I'm sure other agencies will say the same thing, best DSPs out there.
DSPs are amazing.
They are.
And how they stay sometimes amazes me, but they build relationships. And they're very good at building relationships, even with people that they serve that are not great at having relationships.
More challenging individuals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and even people who are nonverbal, or who, sometimes to watch a DSP interact with somebody who, you know, has some limited functioning,
Sure.
you know, and just to see the care, the love that goes into it, and to get a reaction. I'll never forget one of the first experiences I had with somebody with significant disabilities, and a DSP was interacting, and just the person was nonverbal, you know, blind, all sorts of different things, and they were treating them like you and I.
Sure.
And I was in, you know, how amazing, as if it was nothing. And what great dignity. I would want, you want that. I want that. And I think that's a skill that not everybody has.
You're right. And the best DSPs treat the folks that we serve as family.
Yes.
And I think in a lot of cases, they are family. They grow to be a family because we're in that home where these people live so many hours a week, and they become a family.
Well, we spend a lot of time with them, especially, I mean, I have persons in our care that we've served for decades.
Right.
And so, I mean, I have 2 DSPs right now that have been with us for 35 years.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. And so they've known everybody. So when I talk about cradle to grave services, our field really is that. It's, you're starting with that early intervention and getting to know that individual, depending on their needs. And then as they grow, same thing with, somebody may be in a waiver site and be very independent, but as they age, they need more help. And therefore, if you have that integrated care facility, which is more adapt versus a nursing home for a person with disabilities, it's a nice, continuation of care for that individual. And I know for independence, we've done that several times. We've had some folks that have come from an ICF, gone on into an exit waiver, then gone back out to, and then have had to come back in. And it's nice because they know us. We're part of their family.
Right.
So
what do you think are the challenges our industry is facing?
Well, the biggest one right now is the investment into the rates for the workforce. We unfortunately, because of our funding structure, we don't compete. Our industry does not compete in a capitalistic world with, inflation, the recent increase in wages,
right,
that, Amazon can pay $20 an hour. I don't get to go to Johnny and say, I'm sorry, Johnny, the reimbursement that I get doesn't cover all of your care because I have to pay more. You're going to have to pay an additional $5. Legally, I'm not allowed to do that.
Right.
So I have to take what is given to me and make it work. Somehow. And a lot of times, I mean, I know agencies that are paying for nursing through fundraising. I mean, which is crazy because it's a requirement of our field.
Right.
So that's why a lot of times I think the expectation, we want person-centered planning. We want community inclusion. We want, smaller settings. We want all these things, which all cost money. Mm-hmm. And so, and providers we're doing a business. I have to keep the lights on. I have to pay the insurance. I have to pay my, the accounting people. I have to pay DSPs. I think that's the hardest part right now is, we need an investment in order to sustain ourselves and stabilize ourselves. And then I think the next challenge is, the dignity of risk. Sometimes we want to bubble wrap persons with disabilities.
We do.
And so, well, what if there's a fire? Johnny needs 24-hour staffing because what if there's a fire and he won't be able to get out? Okay, but what other things can we do? Because you have children, right?
Yeah.
When your child moved out on their own, were you afraid that they might do something dumb? Yes.
And they did.
They did. And so you kind of, but how do you set that person up to be as independent? And I think sometimes in our field, we've forgotten that the least restrictive option is where we should be starting and moving our way back.
I agree.
And so, that's where that technology piece I think is so important, especially with the youth coming up, because right now, here's the other thing. We need DSPs. Mm-hmm. We need to pay them for the services, the essential and necessary services that they have. And it's an average wage of $14 is just not, it's not cutting it. And nor we should be, as a community, we should
McDonald's pays more than
yes. And so again, pay what I can based off what I'm getting reimbursed. I don't, because there's the difference between what I have and what your worth is. Right. But when you look at what they're doing, it is a problem. And so if we're going to compete, we have to do that. And I don't know where I was going with that. I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
I figured to be honest. But anyhow, we the biggest thing right now is we have to invest in that workforce, because we also have seen that from an HR standpoint, workforce has changed.
It has.
People want to, they want work-life balance. They don't want to work second shift. They want to work from home. They want to do gig work, whatever it is. We have to change with that. And that's hard if you can't stabilize your workforce. So how do you get people into the system? Because the other issue is we're not prepared for the person. We can't serve who we have.
Correct.
We don't have enough workforce to serve the people coming up through the ranks. So we have youth that are coming up that we are not ready for. And so we need to be proactive, in my opinion, by starting to look at cultivating future workforces. And that starts in your middle school, in your high school programs, really educating people of what a direct support professional is, that it is a career path, that it is a professional position. It is called a direct support professional, and they are professionals, and we should treat them as such. And so in that regard, I know Independence is doing a really trying to advocate for that future workforce. I know we're working with OSDSP Ohio and some partners in regards to a docuseries to educate, again, looking at long-term, how can we make these